Hi everyone, my name's Ollie Ward and I am the Youth Ministry track leader and also Performing Arts lecturer. And Regents has a bit of a special place in my heart because I was a student here, so I did the BA course here myself, and I've never really left since then. I've kind of stuck around, done a master's elsewhere, but I've always then, since being here as a student, taught, and I've absolutely loved it. And one of the reasons that Regents is particularly special to me is because it taught me to love learning. It taught me to love fresh ideas, new thinking, and showed me the impact that revelations in theology and other disciplines can have on my own life and on my practice. So it's a very special place for me, and it's a privilege to still be here and to work here and to work alongside the youth ministry, track students, and head up the course. And why might you want to come and join us and study youth ministry? Well, youth ministry is a slightly strange hybrid kind of discipline within the church, in that it's a kind of a conversation between theology, sociology or cultural studies, and a little bit of psychology. So you definitely need some awareness of theology, right? What we want to do is connect young people with the story of God, and indeed with God's self. And there's an excellent phrase that Mark Yaconelli, who writes many books on youth ministry, talks about being vulnerable to God. Not that we can bring God any closer or we can introduce young people to God on our own behalf, but that we can keep ourselves and we can help young people be vulnerable to God, more open to God's presence. And I think that's what studying theology does. It helps us be more aware of where God is at work in life, in our own lives, and in the society and the culture around us. And it means we can point to young people's lives, moments in their life, events in culture, and say, I wonder if God's saying something here. And that obviously has a profound impact on us. So we definitely need theology, but it's also a conversation about cultural studies and sociology as well. And so one of the modules we do is culture and context, and we try to gain a little bit of a better understanding of youth culture and some of the issues they're wrestling with, some of their worldviews, how they might look at faith, look at spirituality. And that's really important because it's absolutely crucial to be working with where people are at and not to be stuck in tradition. Tradition's really good and helpful and can teach us a lot of things, but we don't want to be trapped in it. We want to be changing things and bringing fresh thinking and new ideas and adapting practices to meet with where young people are at the moment. And so studying youth culture and studying society and the way that relationships work in society is really helpful. But it's also a conversation in terms of psychology and adolescent development, and there are lots of revelations that we can have about the way that young people think and their brains develop and how they grow up that can help us think about that in a theological context and help them engage with faith and develop their faith. And so youth ministry is a conversation between those kind of three disciplines, and having a greater understanding of those disciplines and thinking through some of those issues can really help you engage with and lead young people in your various contexts, or indeed if you want to go on to be a youth pastor or a youth worker somewhere. We have really close links with Limitless. So Tim Alford does a lot of teaching on the course, and students get to spend a lot of time around the Limitless team and working on different projects. And that's really helpful because one of our primary aims here is to train people for ministry within Elim. And so you might well go on to be a Limitless pastor, youth pastor somewhere. But even if you don't stay within Elim and go on to other areas, just having those connections and that experience and practical kind of placement opportunities is really, really helpful and vital to learn about youth ministry. So they are maybe some of the reasons why you might want to come and study with us here. My own interests are similar in terms of the conversations that make up youth ministry. I'm really interested in theology, particularly practical theology, being able to try and put my finger on where God is present at the moment in society, and maybe think through how the experience of God and spirituality maybe interact with our kind of systematic biblical theology and the conversation there. I'm really interested in cultural studies and stories, particularly in storytelling, and how stories shape identity and society, and thinking through what stories young people are being shaped by. And I'm really interested in kind of anthropology, so what makes up a human, how are we formed, and how do we develop, and looking at that from a theological context. So I'd absolutely love it for you to come and join us on the course here, and study alongside me and the other students here, and just think through some of these really important issues, have a go at some youth ministry in different placement contexts, and reflect on that together, and help each other as we learn and develop our youth ministry practice.